right, kids. I'm gonna cover a few different things here. Peter Crow, he asked about an update on this Chicago electric saw blade sharpener. I'll be honest with you, I don't have a blade that I've sharpened recently, which is probably a little bit of an update because I think a lot of the blades that I went through and sharpened in like April of last year, I've still been using them. And they get a lot of use. I've changed out the blades on the miter saw. The circular saw, it just got changed out like probably a month ago. I'm not the only person using these. Some of my family uses this shop, and they run a bunch of stuff through this. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of an update, right? I haven't had to re-sharpen or re-grind a lot of these until right now. They really are due for a re-grind. It does a really good job on these. I don't think it's necessarily something, if you had a bunch of really expensive Freud blades or, something like that, maybe send them off for a regrind. A lot of these companies will also braze on new tips if they need it. But these cheap blades, which is mostly what I have, is just stuff that you're going to get at Lowe's or maybe some of the cheaper stuff at Woodcraft. Yeah, it works great. I think I paid like, I don't know, I said it in the other video, like 50 or 60 bucks for this thing. I mean, a blade at Lowe's is that much for a 12-inch for sure. Honestly, I don't know, because it's been that long since I've had to buy one. So, number one, it's been almost a year since I've reground most of the blades that I have here. Number two, I haven't bought new blades for the table saw or the miter saw in a very long time. So, we're less than a year in and they need a regrind on them. I've done the floating shelves. Family's been up here doing a whole bunch of different stairway projects and other things. I've cut a million different things for myself. So yeah, I think it's worth it. You need to probably put a base on this. For sure, you need to put a base on it if you're going to use it really often. If I had extra space to just leave it setting out, I'd just bolt it down to a table because that base is terrible. I mean, it's really wobbly, but it's definitely worth the money. All right, the next one, Nick D asked about running the power to this bottom drawer. Honestly, there's no magic trick here. It's just a cord. I think I used a 1.5-inch spade bit on here. I did run the cord through here and then put this end on it because I had some extra ends and wire, and just got it secured in there with some CA glue. We're going to print some stuff to hold the batteries and that sort of thing. I have one more thing to print for this top drawer, which is a box that's going to go up here. The long bit holder that I just covered in another video, these dovetails worked out really good. They fit tight. I didn't really use any glue or anything else on this. I mean, it's staying together. So that serves its purpose. What else? What else? Oh yeah, this weird thing here, this ugly thing. I ran out of black filament mid-print, so I had to print this in sections. These two went first, and as you can see, that's why they're two-tone. This is a stud spacer, or a prototype stud spacer. The idea is you use it to frame up a wall, or floor if you wanted to, I guess. These little spots here should fit a piece of 2x material and space them exactly 16 inches on center. This bottom section here will go on like your top or bottom plate. On the back, I left these holes for driving nails, screws, whatever fasteners you're using. I haven't tried it out yet. I just took this off the printer, took the middle section off the printer night before last. And I used the dovetail on this too. Let me get a little bit closer. So I did the same thing here, except this dovetail is just obviously way longer. It was tight. I had to clean it up, shave it down a little bit, and kind of use some hammer persuasion to get in there, but that's what I wanted. I don't really want to take this apart. I wanted it to fit tight. I did do a screen cap when I designed this, so maybe we'll cover that, but this is just a really rough draft. Had some issue with adhesion on the corners here, but I didn't use any glue or anything on the print bed. So that's why I have these lines. It's where the corners started to raise up off the bed. But we'll try it out. You know what? Let's just see. Let me grab a 2x4 or something. So when I drew these up in Tinkercad, I made the spacing like 5 thousandths of an inch larger. Yeah, and that was enough. It's not wobbling around in there a lot, but I'm not fighting to get it in. So imagine, you know, this is your top or bottom plate. This is your stud. You're gonna put it in there, shoot your nails in the back. Same thing down here, and they should be 16 inches on center. We'll have to do some revisions and refinements on that, I guarantee it. And then, this is a shaft off of the lathe. I've got 2 of the shafts off of there. I did not take the spindle shaft off because I didn't want to fool around with the chuck just yet because it's very heavy and I don't have an engine hoist out there. But the reason I did this is these bearings, I'm going to assume, are part of the problem with the noise on the lathe. Talking about that reprint this lathe from recent video. I did some measurements, some inspection on this. There's a lot of wear. These things probably have been in there a while. Didn't get very well lubricated probably. Anyway, ordered some new bearings. Got them from a place called ASB Bearings. They're an American company. I want to say they're somewhere Connecticut, maybe? I don't know. We'll cover that in another video because the second part of the lathe process, we're going to be talking about these bearings. We'll have to drill and tap some holes for the set screws from the housing, and then also figure out a way to put some oil grooves in this because, well, my lathe is disassembled and I don't have a mill yet. So that's one thing. I've got a few other odds and ends pieces for the lathe that are still in the mail. I'm going to have to replace the sheath on the motor of the lathe. So I would assume that lathe was at some point meant to run off of a line shaft because of the big drive wheel that's on it. What's on it right now are 4 V-belts. I would assume there used to be 5 because this is a 5-groove sheath, but this one's broken. And there has been, it looks like a part of it they tried to braze back on. So I just ordered a whole new sheath, whole new 5-groove sheath. I got a new belt, but I don't have the sheath yet. And got the quick disconnect bushing for the sheath. So I'm going to put a new sheath on the motor, new belts on there. I got banded belts instead of individual belts that were on this. A few of these set screws on the shaft. I don't want to call them set screws. There are some screws on the shaft where shifting forks from the levers move these barrels from side to side to engage different gears for your speeds, and one of these was broken. So I ordered some brass point set screws for that I think is going to work well enough to replace these stock pieces. So yeah, we got that. 100 million different things. Oh, this shower. So probably saw this shower in, I don't know, some video I just did. I don't remember which one it was. It was broken and cracked, and I've been working on it. We're getting there. I just put a new layer of the fiberglass repair stuff on there. There were a bunch of cracks in this. I don't have any idea what I'm doing with that. But I got the video started. We'll get there eventually. And then underneath this is, well, it's the table that I had in a video forever ago that said, coming soon. Yeah, we'll get there. I gotta cut 2 more pieces for this and then get some leveling feet on it, and that'll be done. I don't know, bunch of crap going on, it's the holidays. I do also have several other big old basic videos that I did that I haven't done anything with yet. All right, kids, lathe, drawer, Chicago Electric circular saw blade sharpener, stud spacer shower. I think that's all for the updates. Hopefully Peter and Nick answered your questions. If not, let me know. Also, I didn't talk about this. We have this big shoulder screw. Came out of the lathe on the control lever that sits on the apron. Totally jacked. Part of the problem why it wouldn't stay engaged. The power wouldn't stay engaged. On top of this set screw we got to replace. So yeah, I think that's it. Oh, the shelves. I'll throw some pictures up here for the floating shelves. It was part of a fireplace build that I did. I did do a video framing up part of the fireplace because I did it in the shop. I did like the first 8 feet of it, framed it up here so I could just throw it in the back of the truck and take it over there. I did not, however, drag a camera into the homeowner's home. I don't know. I just feel like that's weird, and I didn't want to invade their privacy or impose on them. I feel like asking the question, hey, bro, can I have a camera running in your house? They're not going to say no, even if they don't want me to, because, well, they want their fireplace built. But I'll throw some pictures up here so you get the idea. It was an electric fireplace insert that they bought like a year or 2 ago. Couldn't get anybody else to build it, so I went ahead and did the best that I could. And that's where the floating shelves went. And those went pretty good. When you put those up, the way that system was designed, if your wall is not perfectly flat or square, there's going to be some gaps there. And we managed to kind of play around that and get it close enough that you couldn't see any gap from a distance. I will say the material that I used on that was not thick enough. So by the time I drilled them out to put the mount in there, I managed to tear out the bottom of the stock on one of the shelves. Just wasn't thick enough. By the time I milled it all down, it wasn't enough. But fortunately, the bottom shelves were low enough. You could set it there, and it hid it. A very wise man once said that the sign of a good carpenter is his ability to hide his mistakes. I'm not a good carpenter. In fact, calling myself a carpenter is an insult to carpenters everywhere. But I did manage to hide those. Homeowner was happy with it. I'll throw those pictures up. Basically what I did was I built the first 8 feet, framed up the first 8 feet, pre-cut all my cladding. And then I went in there and I threw up that first 8 feet. It was a sloped ceiling. I think it had like a 12-1 slope on it. Maybe a little bit more. But I'd framed up the remainder of it after I threw up that first 8-foot section. And it did make the job go quicker. Put a little drawer or a little door on the right side of it. Can't see it in any of the pictures. That allows them access to all the cords, the power strips, and that sort of thing. So everything was hidden in there. Oh, the mantle. The mantle was just a big chunk of oak that I had. Cut it down, cleaned it up a little bit, left it kind of rough. And then I used some header lock screws. I think it's their Fasten Master, maybe? Anyway, they were like 4.5-inch screws, 2x4s behind the shiplap that were secured into the studs, and then drove those Fasten Master screws through there into the mantle. It's not meant to hold a lot, you know, maybe some picture frames or random stuff, but yeah, I'll throw those pictures up. You'll see them. Eventually, I'll get around to the table. I'll get around to this video. The second video on this is coming relatively soon as I get some of the grooves in this and get the new sheave in. We'll throw that up. It's the holidays. I got a job. I got to work. I'll get them up when I get them up. Thanks for watching.